one big issue that you've been talking about that is big on your radar is this like latest incarnation of Wall Street malfeasance, like after mortgage-backed securities. So talk to us about rental-backed securities. What's the problem there?
The big meltdown in 2007, 2008 was over mortgage-backed securities, which were a scheme by Wall Street to buy up a bunch of, well, they bought and sold mortgages. A lot of these securities were subprime mortgages, unsound, and these securities just were very unstable. The value was not really well known, and the whole market for these imploded and caused a lot of people to lose their property. We didn't understand them very well. The federal government and the Congress were lax in their oversight responsibilities. What has me concerned now is there is a new iteration. Instead of these securities being backed by mortgages or being backed from the rents of homes that have been bought up en masse at very low fire sale prices because of the implosion of the housing market. Wall Street firms have gone in and bought at least 500 homes by one firm alone in my largest city, Riverside. We've seen housing prices or housing values accelerate by 20% in 1 year. That's a huge gain in value. On the one hand, it's good. It makes people who are living in their homes and own them feel better that their property values have risen.
But so it's driving like higher real estate prices, but it's kind of like an artificial.
But it's investor
drive.
driven. It's investor driven. It's not being driven by individual homeowners that have come in and bought these homes. This kind of indicates to me a kind of maybe an unsustainable market, because we haven't seen incomes rise. We still have a high unemployment rate in my area. Rents in my area, we know, have risen tremendously. A huge number of my constituents are paying more than half their income in rents.
And in California, though, I mean, it must be stated, I lived in California, the unemployment rate there is, much higher than the rest of the country. And so,
especially in my area of California, the Inland Empire, our unemployment is still sort of north of 8%. How can we have housing prices reach 20% increases while incomes are still below where they were before the recession started? We looked toward what might be one of the causes, and we saw this behavior of mass buying of properties. We know as of last month that the renewal rates, the vacancy rates have increased among these properties been bought up by, say, Blackstone, who contracts out to Invitation Homes, who actually manages the properties. If there's too many vacancies, we have to wonder about how they're going to pay back these bonds and whether they're going to be in a position to have to sell these homes en masse, and therefore also cause a precipitous drop in property values.
So are you proposing more oversight?
Right now I'm proposing, before we even get to oversight, just to have a greater understanding of what these around-backed securities, just understand them. They're complex instruments. I want to know what their impact is on the community. Look, it's one thing to manage apartment buildings, which were designed to be rented out. It's another thing to buy en masse single-family homes, which were really meant to be occupied by single families. Maintenance issues are complicated, especially when you're talking about thousands of homes. We don't know what the rental agreements look like and whether they are too onerous. If you're a Wall Street firm, you have tremendous pressure to make a return on these investments to your investors.
And I mean, if you're an investment bank, you're not in the business of rental property.
And that's precisely why some of the major rating agencies have not given their full blessing to these instruments. I mean, they look at that track record. It's a very short period of time. We know of at least 1 or 2 major lawsuits in California. An advocacy group in Georgia, they obtained a lease. That lease had, very high late payment burdens on the renters, as well as renewal provisions that were extremely disadvantageous. So it really forced the renters into significantly higher rents if they didn't renew at a full year's lease. These are all reasons why we could be seeing, these higher vacancy rates in these homes that have been securitized.
Undercurrent under the surface makes the mainstream get so nervous. It's time for purpose, for news to serve us, not with propaganda they use to hurt